If your back to school routine usually starts with exhausted kids and ends with somebody forgets your lunchbox, today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 easy tips that just might save your sanity this year as we launch into the back to school season. And the best part is you can start on them today to ensure a much smoother transition back to school. Hi there, my name is Megan Sumrell, and today we're going to be talking about things that you can start doing right now before that first day of back to school that is 100% going to help you and your kids and your entire family ease back into the whole back to school season without all of the unnecessary stress. All right. So, whether you've got littles that are maybe entering kindergarten or first grade, or you're in the full teen stages who have turned probably like nocturnal over the summer months, as mine has, these tips are really something that are going to help you. I've been using them for years, started it when my daughter was in elementary school, and we are still leveraging them here in our high school years. So, first off, tip number one is what I call bookending your weekends that surround that first week when they're going back to school. All right. Our school starts on a Monday. Sometimes schools don't start till Wednesday. But I really want you, as soon as possible, to go into your calendar and look at the weekend before your first day of school and that first weekend after school has started. And the whole purpose of doing this is to avoid the temptation of squeezing in maybe one last beach trip that Saturday and Sunday before school starts on Monday. A lot of times, I know I fall into this trap too, where it's like, I want to squeeze every bit out of those summer months that I can. But what you may not realize is that oftentimes, if you are traveling those couple days and you're away from home before that first day of school, while it might be fun in the moment, you're actually setting things up to be very stressful as your child is entering into that first day of school, especially if you have a kid that maybe school might create a little bit of anxiety or nervousness. So rather than squeezing in one last weekend away, the weekend before school starts, I really encourage you to try and clear your calendar and just be around your home. Now, that doesn't mean you don't step outside, right? Maybe you do go spend an afternoon at the pool on Saturday afternoon. I really encourage you to avoid traveling that weekend before. Now, I mentioned bookending, right? So let's talk about that first weekend after school starts. Your child is going to be tired. They're going to be mentally exhausted and, in some cases, physically exhausted. The last thing you want to do is have a jam packed weekend, especially on that Saturday, especially if you've got teens, because chances are they are going to need the weekend for it to do a number of different things. One, they're going to want to rest, they're going to want to sleep in a little bit. Number two, you may have discovered on that first week of school that there are some back to school items that maybe you need to go out and run errands for. Maybe the lunchbox wasn't working as great, right? All of that. So really try and protect yourself from getting overbooked and overscheduled that first weekend back. All right. So that's tip number one, is really protecting those bookend weekends around the first week of school. I actually, in my calendar, we start school in the middle of August. So the weekend before and that first weekend, I just wrote in on Saturday and Sunday, book nothing. Right. So that's my reminder. So if I get an invitation to something, I go open my calendar, I'm going to see that note I wrote to myself, don't book anything. And it's going to make me go, wait, what's going on? And then I can really be thoughtful about what I say yes or no to. Now, tip number two, start the sleep shift early. All right. Now, if you have littles at home, right, maybe kindergarten, first grade, that already, even during the summer months, are waking up early, this may not apply to you. But the older your kids get, trust me, you're going to want to do this. All right. This is especially for parents of teens like myself. So, over the summer months, we change our usual bedtime routine. And this is a time for my daughter to get restorative rest, meaning she's waking up later in the summer. The worst thing that you can do is continue that pattern until the night before the first day of school. So, for example, maybe you have a teen who's sleeping in till 9 or 10 or maybe even 11 in the morning. But during the school year, they need to get up at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. If that entire week leading up to the first week of school, they are still staying up till midnight and sleeping in till 10 a.m., and then all of a sudden, first day of school, you're now waking them up 4 hours than what they've been doing for the last couple months, it's gonna be a recipe for disaster for that first week of school. So, depending upon how much of a sleep transition you're going to need to make, you will want to start this at least 1 week before school, maybe even two, right? And just start slowly moving that time back. My daughter has always been more of a night owl. She is naturally wired that way. So, in the summer months, she stays up later, she sleeps in later. So, this year, we're going to be starting our first sleep shift 2 weeks prior to school where we're just gonna be saying for us, "Hey, 9:30 in the morning, you need to be up." So we're not gonna do the jump right to school, but we're gonna spend an entire week kinda getting back to a 9:30 AM wake up, and then the week before school, we're gonna shift that back even earlier so that when school starts, we typically she gets up at about 6:30 for our school schedule. We're not gonna be jumping from, sleeping until 10:30 in the morning to now waking up at 6:30. And guys, this is a gift to the teachers as well. It's a gift to you, it's a gift to your students, it's a gift to the teachers. So really start to think about that. And that might mean getting to bed a little bit earlier and then slowly start their bodies transitioning back to that earlier wake up time. The third tip is really for some advanced planning, and it is this. I want you to make sure that you are loading your school's calendar or multiple schools, if you have kids at different schools, into your personal calendar, like right now, today, if you haven't done that. So I have yet to hear anyone that, their school hasn't published their full 2025-26 school calendar, right? Like ours was published 6 months ago. So it's probably on your school's website. Go find it. If you want to print it off, print it off. I did that for ours. And then go to your main calendaring tool. So if it's a paper planner, get your paper planner. If you use Google Calendar, iCal, whatever that may be, go ahead and grab that. And then plug in all of the big time off or half days that are showing on your school calendar, right? So make sure you're making a note of no school on this day, half day on this day. This is when spring break starts, this is when spring break ends. Don't just do it month to month, load the entire school calendar in now. As you are loading it in, make sure that you are, addressing any conflicts you may see right now. So for example, when I was loading in our school calendar, I happened to notice that there is going to be a 4-day weekend that I already had a trip booked for work. It was a trip that was booked like 4 or 5 months out. So this allowed me to, in that moment, come up with, okay, what is going to be my strategy for this? I'm gone, it's days off from school. And so my husband and I were able to sit down and come up with our plan for that. And he's going to be taking some time off from work and be able to have like one on one time with our daughter while I am traveling. Right. So it's not just about getting the info in your calendar, but load it in and make sure that you're addressing any conflicts that you see right now. The second advantage of doing this now is this is going to allow you to proactively, if you are a family that likes to plan vacations, like holidays, all of that, you're going to have that information now. So for instance, we like to travel for spring break. Well, we have the dates, in our calendar already, which means we can really start doing early planning for that, which means that we can get some really great deals a lot of times. So being proactive here is going to help prevent last minute, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? It's also going to help prevent any mid-year surprises. Our school calendar also includes, notifications of exam weeks. So we're proactively writing that in our calendar as well as a reminder for ourselves, don't book stuff. Like don't overbook these weeks if, she's going to be in the middle of exams. So again, quick recap on these 3 tips. Bookend those weekends before and after that first week of school. Don't get overbooked. Don't get overscheduled. Avoid traveling. All right. Second one, start doing your sleep shift early. Don't wait till the day before school to suddenly, especially if you've got a teen, be doing a massive shift in their sleep routine. And then third, get that school calendar loaded into your main calendar today. Now, speaking of calendars and planners, if you are looking for the perfect student planner for your either middle school aged, kind of teenage through college student, I have great news for you. Just this year, we have launched our first ever top student planner. I've actually got it behind me over here, and it's more than just a planner. When you purchase the planner, you actually get an entire course designed specifically for students, teaching a student specific 4-step planning process. Friends, your kid isn't lazy. They're not a procrastinator. They're not disorganized. They've just never been taught how to plan and manage a calendar that includes schoolwork, extracurriculars, home life, etc. Well, this is the problem that the top student planner solves. So, if you would like to get more information on it and go ahead and grab one for yourself, head on over to megansumrell.com/student. We have it in a hot pink. We also have it in a grayscale for people that don't love pink. And I promise you, when you invest your time in going through that planning course, it is going to transform what your home could look like this school year. Happy back to school, everybody.